Okay, here's our last moments in Fez, in the city of the Rif, but also the city of the Rambam. So you were in the Rambam's house in Fez, and even though it says on the sign that the Rambam wrote the Guide to the Perplexed, whether he wrote that here, that I'm not going to comment on, but I'll tell you what he did right here. He wrote one of the most important works that he ever compiled, a seminal work. It's called Iggeres HaShemad. Iggeres HaShemad. And this is very important in light of us going to Sulika today, where a certain rabbi wrote that in those communities, see, the Rambam lived here in the Almoravids, in the time of the Almoravids, who were understanding, and they allowed the Jewish community to practice a religion. And then the Almohads came, and they were fanatical, and the Rambam had to hide with his father when the Almohads came. And a certain rabbi wrote that if you're being forced to abdicate your religion and to profess your belief in Islam, then not only are you required to give up your life, but also the mitzvahs that you perform have no value anymore. If once you abdicate the religion, why even bother performing mitzvahs? And the Rambam in Iggeres HaShemad argued vehemently. The Rambam said, first of all, every mitzvah that a Jew fulfills, it doesn't matter what they profess, is valuable. But moreover, a Jew is morally obligated to profess his belief in Islam and denounce Judaism to save their life, because Islam is not idolatry. That's the opinion of the Rambam, that a Jew is obligated to profess their belief in Islam. So now, that's what the Rambam wrote here in Fez. In light of that, it becomes very curious, what was Sulika doing? You know, it's very nice, we go to the kever, and she gave up her life because she didn't want to profess her belief in Islam. Well, wasn't she required to? Isn't that halacha? Aren't you obligated? Because, now, furthermore, you know, it's very interesting that she said that I'm different than Esther. Esther didn't have to denounce Judaism. I'm having to denounce Judaism. Well, she needed to. They weren't asking her to believe in Christianity, they were asking her to believe in Islam. It seems that she did the right thing, but not for the reason that she gave. In other words, the fact that she would have to profess her belief in Islam, she needed to do that. You're obligated to do that. But there's a different, very important distinction. There's a tshuva in the Rabbi Yehuda about a city that was surrounded by Gentile siege. And there was a woman there who said she could go out, live with the general, and save the city. So she said, I'll do what Esther did. Should I do that? Am I allowed to do that? And the Rabbi Yehuda said, you're not allowed to do that. So they asked the Rabbi Yehuda, what do you mean? Esther did it. Says Rabbi Yehuda, Esther did it. It was permitted for her to save Klal Yisrael. But just to save a city, then Gilui Arayos would be prohibited. There's a difference between all of Klal Yisrael and just a segment of Klal Yisrael. According to that, Sulika, to save the Jews of Fez, was not allowed to live with the guy, because she wasn't saving all of Klal Yisrael, she was only saving the city. So for the fact that she had to profess her belief in Islam, that she was required to do. But the reason she did the right thing is because since it was only relevant to the Jews of Fez, and not to the Jews all over the world, so then she's not like Esther. That's the difference between her and Esther. A different reason than as reported that she gave. It's not that Esther didn't have to renounce her belief, denounce Judaism, because what Sulika was required to do was only to profess belief in Islam. The reason why she did the correct thing is because what she was asked to do was prohibited on account of the fact that it was only to save the people of the city. So that's just, that's based on the Rambam. You know, this is the work that the Rambam wrote here in Fez, that that religion is not considered idolatry, and a Jew would be obligated to say they believe in it in order to save their own life, certainly to save the life of a city. But what Sulika was asked to do was not just say she believed in Islam, but to live with the prince, and that was prohibited. Okay.
You've just experienced another Torah class.